Everyone's having a blessed Tuesday. So today for Plant Feature Tuesday, I'm going to go ahead and present this young lady or beautiful lady. This is a green Imperial Philodendron. Um, and I'm sure this one gets mixed up with the green Congo, but this is not a green Congo. It's an green Imperial Philodendron. And so you have the green Congo, you have the green emerald, which those leaves kind of, they're like the red emerald. And I believe the pink princess is related to the emeralds. So they have the emeralds, they have the Congos, and then they have the Imperials. The Imperial or Imperial is a mixture of the moonlight philodendron. And a lot of times you'll get the plant and it'll just say Imperial, or it'll say really, like my moonlight was labeled as just Imperial. But there's several different. They have a red Imperial, they have the moonlight, they have Prince of Orange. That's also related, and it's a self header. It grows from one stem, and when one leaf comes out, another comes right behind it. So this leaf came out. It started around Christmas time. It was just a stem, and then it came out. This one came first, then this one, and now this one's coming up. I had to cut off a lot of her leaves, but she's doing pretty good. This is like the last of the leaf that was messed up. She had some damage to her leaves. So anyhow, so yeah, this is the green Imperial. It's a philodendron. She is a self-header. The leaves on here, if you notice, are a little bit like they're crunched, they're wrinkly kind of. And it just gives it that look, and it grows. This is how it's a self-header, so it grows up like a out of this particular stem, and it does have aerial roots once it starts getting a little bit bigger, but it does become pretty big. The leaves are pretty big. They remind me of some type of lettuce. They're really thick too. And so with her, I give her a bright and direct light. She is in front of a west facing window. Now, I have a two-story building in front of my window, but it's only two stories. So she's able to see the sky, but the sun probably will say direct sun hits her maybe, about 10 minutes a day if it's beaming like that. But other than that, it's just bright and direct light. She likes the temperature warm. The soil is a mixture of orchid bark, perlite, cactus mix, and some regular potting soil. And I believe that's all I gave her. I didn't give her the actually, it's just orchid bark, perlite, and cactus mix, actually. And the cactus mix has sphagnum moss, I believe, in it, and fir bark, and vermiculite. No, not vermiculite, pumice rocks. So that's her soil mixture. And this one, I pretty much all my plants do not like to get watered. So this one I let dry out. Just like I do all my other philodendrons. I'll say 75% of the soil is pretty much got to be dried. And then I give it, because of these leaves, just like I do any of the other big leaves, I give her a shower once a month. And then fertilizer, she has some Job's, the Job spikes, and they're slow release fertilizer. So that expire once those expire, then I'll more than likely give her I'll try another food. So I do different foods. Like right now, I've put most of my plants have Job's spikes, but I am also using the Bonide 10 right now, which the ones that don't have the spikes I'm using. So anyhow, uh, you do need to feed philodendrons when it's growing season because they are heavy feeders. So you do need to make sure that they're being fed the from spring to fall, and then after that, you can probably well, since she has the slow release in her, every time I water her, she's basically being fertilized because of the slow release. But I would recommend doing every other water if you're gonna put the fertilizer in the water. Do it every other water. That way, you're doing it. If you water your plants, well, if you water your plants once a month, almost like I do, then I do it once a month. And that's pretty much it seems like I'm doing with my philodendrons. Now it hasn't got hot yet. It's not severely hot yet. So when the summer comes, I'm sure the water will be changing because it does get pretty hot in Sacramento, California. But this is what I've been following, as far as winter and spring. It's been let's see, maybe once a month they're getting watered. Um, and that's just because they do not like to be overwatered. It's better to underwater these plants than underwater them. And my way I do it with a lot of them is if I feel, oh no, I keep a journal now, but I also go off of how it feels when I pick it up. I go off of touching it. Like her soil's wet because she just got watered like we'll say last week. And I gave her a good shower. These ones, instead of, there are cleaning solutions and you can do a lot of stuff to clean the leaves. But to me, with the philodendron big leaves like this, you need to give them a good shower once a month. And that's just put them in the shower, or if you have a yard with a hose it down real good because their leaves are big and they can collect dust and, bugs start coming once you do that. So, but yeah, so this is the green Imperial, and she's a pretty good, I haven't really had no problems besides when I got her. She just had a lot of damaged leaves and she was overwatered and had gnats. So I had to take her out of the water, take her out of her soil, repot her, put her in some soil that was, good, that drained quickly, which they need because they do not want to be their soil. No, really, no plant, I believe, wants their soil wet and their roots wet because that's just the nature of these plants. This is an aroid, and philodendrons in the wild, they do come from tropical areas, but they're not constantly, their soil's not soggy and wet all the time either. And as far as humidity goes, what I do with all my philodendrons is I just keep a bowl of water by them, a decorative bowl. I go to secondhand thrift stores and I find little, bowls, glass. And with most of them, they have glass bowls, like they look like little fish tanks, and they're very small. And I put little rocks in there and fill it up with water, and I keep it sitting right next to the philodendron, so the water is being evaporated in the air. But they don't need too much humidity. You don't want to. And as far as misting the leaves, I stopped doing that because that misting causes, the fungus on the leaves. It does cause gnats. Sometimes it's okay to do it, but when I do it now, I make sure I do have a fan, which I keep a fan on all my philodendrons at all time. I have a fan, except at nighttime when they're sleeping. But I recommend, if you're gonna mist your plants, make sure you have a fan blowing that water off the leaves, because if it sits on there, it's going to cause damage to the leaves, and it can cause the fungus disease. And once again, philodendrons are very susceptible to the bacteria leaf blight. They can get that, and it'll tear up the whole plant. So even if you overwater it too much, it will do that too. It goes into the roots, and then it pulls up into the leaves. So it's best to let your philodendron dry out. It's better to underwater them than overwater. But like I said, it's been once a month that I've been watering her. And I just keep her soil pretty much, let it dry out before I water her again. And the humidity, like I said, I just keep a bowl of water next to her, which I found that's really what they like. And it's almost like they drink that water up from the air, so they don't need to be bothered much. But that's the best way that I've found with my philodendrons, is to have a bowl of water by them. And it's a decorative bowl, so it looks really nice. But yeah, so once again, this is the green Imperial. Not to get mistaken with the green Congo or the green Emerald. This is the green Imperial. And it's hard to find any information about this one. They talk about the red Imperial, but it's the same care, but this is a total different plant. It's the green Imperial. And as you see, the stem is from the middle. So it grows, they all grow out this middle stem, and it just grows up like, upward. So they call it a self-header. And you'll notice, once again, there's different Imperial plants. This is the green one. They have a red one. The Moonlight is an Imperial. I believe the Prince of Orange is an Imperial. So yeah, that's just some little extra info about this plant. But it's a beauty. I love her. She's growing. She took a beating, but these 3 leaves are pretty much new, and I had to cut off a lot of the leaves. And the leaves are thick. They're like really, really thick leaves. So once one grows out, another one comes right behind it. So they constantly are producing leaves, which is a good thing. So it takes a while, but the leaf does eventually end up coming out, and it's beautiful once it does. So this is pretty much the stem that it comes out of, and this is how they look when they come out. Real pretty leaves, and they're thick. So yeah, so that's the Philodendron green Imperial. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you get a chance, philodendrons are just the best. Sansevierias and philodendrons, I'm pretty much almost going to want to get rid of most of my other plants and just have nothing but Sansevierias and philodendrons, because they're the 2 that they really don't give you no problems, and they're so beautiful to look at. So if you get a chance, get you a green Imperial, and you'll love it, because it's pretty much takes care of itself. Just sit it by some bright light, and bright indirect light, and don't water it. Water it once it's 75% down to there's no water in it. Let it dry out in between waterings, in other words. And you don't want to be misting the leaves. Give it a shower once a month. The humidity, keep a bowl of water by it. Make sure you have a fan blowing, because these plants are used to being outside where the air is circulating. So it's very important to keep air circulation for philodendrons. Really, any of your plants, they all need air circulation. So Get you a fan, and if you're going to be missing your plants, make sure you have a fan that's osculating, which means it's going back and forth so that air circulates. It's air circulating, and the water's not just sitting on the leaves, because that's very bad for the plants. And I learned the hard way. Um, I did catch it, but I learned the hard way with Hoyas. Also, Hoyas are the same way. So pretty much all your plants. But thank you so much. This was the Philodendron Green Imperial featured today. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on Friday. I'll be back on Friday. Bye.